One of the biggest things that we have learned from Donald Trump during his ongoing criminal trial is that the dude loves his naps. I mean, he can just fall asleep in the middle of a freezing cold courtroom, even as his entire life hangs in the balance. That guy is able to just nod off. In fact, he's taken naps 4 out of the 6 days that we have actually had the real trial, not just jury selection, taking place. 4 out of 6 days. Guy's just dozing off. So 2/3 of the time, there's a good chance Donald Trump is going to be asleep in the courtroom. And according to psychologist Dr. John Gartner, who, by the way, is a psychologist and a former assistant professor at Johns Hopkins University Medical School. I've quoted him numerous times. He speaks frequently with Chauncey DeVega from Salon.com. But according to Dr. Gartner, these little naps that Donald Trump is taking are not normal and could, in fact, be signs of dementia. Now, that may seem weird at first, right? Like, obviously, Donald Trump is 77 years old. Taking a nap is not abnormal. Hell, I actually got into the habit during COVID of loving to take naps in the middle of the day. So does that mean I have dementia? Well, no. But Dr. Gartner actually does a really good job of explaining why these, cat naps that Trump is taking are such a problem and could be a symptom. Here's what he says. Trump fell asleep 4 out of 6 days of his own trial. Falling asleep is not, in and of itself, particularly specific to dementia. I fall asleep at dinner parties because I'm old and work too hard. Bill Clinton was famous for it. But can you remember a criminal defendant repeatedly unable to stay awake at his own trial? I can't. It's obviously very rare. Most people are pumped full of adrenaline when they're in the dock. It is fairly common for dementia patients to, quote, pass out. This may be the first criminal trial I've been aware of where the defendant appears, in my opinion, to have dementia. Is it a coincidence that it's also the only one I've ever known where the defendant can't remain awake most days? Trump appears to be losing control of his basic biological functions. One is sleep-wake. That kind of sounds important, doesn't it? And honestly, even though I have no medical training, that's kind of what I've said about Trump's naps too. Like, your life is on the line here. If you get convicted, you could, due to your advanced age, spend the rest of your life in jail. Not to mention, if you get convicted, you're not going to be able to play president again. So everything that you are working towards could disappear, including your very own freedom for the rest of your days. When you're in a situation like that adrenaline should be at 100%. You shouldn't be able to sleep at night because of that. And yet Donald Trump, on at least 4 separate occasions, has taken full-blown naps in that courtroom. His body cannot function properly anymore. His hormones may just be out of whack. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe Dr. Gartner is right, and this is a classic sign of dementia as he loses the ability to control his biological functions. Either way, it's not a good look. So whether it is just, I'm just super tired, no amount of adrenaline's going to keep me awake, I got to nod off for a few. If it's that, then wow, good for you. But if it's the other thing, if it is dementia, that is something that the public needs to be aware of before they head to the polls in November. I mean, Biden's cognitive state has been all over the media ever since the day he walked into the White House. Trump's, on the other hand, always seems to get a pass. Even though these mental health professionals, people like Dr. Gartner, they're the ones repeatedly telling us like, yeah, Biden's showing signs of slowing down, but he's not showing the symptoms like Trump is. And there's a world of difference between signs of aging and symptoms of a serious mental problem. And these experts, the professionals, the people who know what to look for, continuously tell us Trump isn't showing signs. He is showing us symptoms. And we need to take that seriously.